Two more gathered in my name, I am there. Three together make a claim, I am there. Four more can open any door. Five and six can play some pretty tricks. It's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. Can you reach and catch a moment in your hand? Can you pull a perfect flower from your mind? Open your eyes, smile wide. World is lovely inside. It's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. Wind will blow seeds everywhere. Love is flaming across the air. Jump and fly, let it go. Something hidden in the snow. It's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. Would you say that God is in a bush? Would you look for Buddha in a tooth? Close your eyes, open wide. Answer can be found outside. It's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. Let me hear you sing, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing.
Good morning. We're the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart, a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, and celebrating diversity and promoting a just and sustainable world. My name is Ken Claiborne, and I'm a member of the board of this congregation. We're glad to have you join us for our service today. If you would like to know more about us, please visit our website at www.uufe.org. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for joining us this week, the worship service of Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart. My name is Amy DeBeck. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is my privilege and my pleasure. It's an honor to serve Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart and also to welcome all of you here. I hope that you'll be with us next weekend. It'll be a Zoom service, and so the link will go out early, probably Friday, certainly by early Saturday. A guest in the pulpit next weekend, Andrew McKnight, and he will be leading us through a service of music and inspiration. I hope that you'll join us at 10 o'clock, and it will go up onto our YouTube station afterwards, a YouTube channel, I guess it's called. If you don't see it at 10 o'clock, you will be able to take part by watching it later. In this first week of August, I lift up the following names, and I invite you to send them light. Karen Kerr, Lorna Lane, Zanzer Anderson, Anthony Robinson, Rowene Sibley, Noran Wynn. We mourn the death of Jerry Shaw's mother. We mourn Frankie Galicia and all of those suffering today. If you need pastoral care, please contact me in whatever way you are most comfortable. By telephone, by internet, Facebook private message, however it is that you are comfortable. Please let me or one of the care associates know that you have some attention that is required, that you have a need, even if it's just to chat. I'm the coach for the care associates. Kevin, my husband, who's also a minister, is on the care team, and also Peg Cook, Steve Cripe, and Dwight Fish. We're trying our best to keep up with everybody's pastoral care concerns. Now at this time, we ring our gong to usher us into the more sacred part. Less announcements, more sacred. This gong was given to Kevin at his ordination. It's coming up on a year. We ring the gong 3 times. Once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those who will come after us and build on the dream.
The chalice lighting today is by Amy Williams Clark. We gather in this time of uncertainty, full of unknowns, as angst closes in upon us. We light this chalice with a flame that draws us together. With this flame, we cut through the dankness of isolation and are warmed by the fires of our interconnection. For this moment, this radical moment, we find a certainty within the knowable bonds of love and community.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
Each week we take up an offering that we share with an agency whose values are in line with ours. Once a month, the offering stays in-house to take care of the things that crop up while running a church, like besides pandemic. But anyway, once a month we take up the offering and we keep it in-house for the UUFE Sustainability Fund. And that is used for any number of things, from keeping up the campus to outreach that might come up unbudgeted. This week is for that sustainability fund, and I hope that you will give generously to either write a check and send it in, or across the bottom of the screen there is an address that you can type into your computer, and it will come up just like it does on our website, and you are able to donate money online using your credit card or debit card. It is time for the morning offering.
2, 3.
It may be a new month, but things are still interesting. This week in our neck of the world, things have been rough. We lost our elder statesman, John Lewis, and as we watched his funeral service, we were made to recall when this nation had trustworthy leadership. Painful to lose him, and painful to see how far we've fallen. This week has been personally painful for me as well. I overextended my knee while I was riding my awesome adult tricycle named Jim. The pain reminded me of candidating week here at UUFE when I first met all of you. That was funny, right? Painful to meet you. But see, I was walking with a cane that week because of a car accident that had wrecked my knee a month before. Pain has always intersected with me and with you, UUFE. Reflecting on my anniversary, yesterday marked 12 years since I officially began serving UUFE. Reflecting on this anniversary, this pain at such a cyclical time, it caused me to come up with some hope in a rough week. If you have wondered how we will stay emotionally afloat and united, I am here to tell you that we will do it because simply It's what we do. The reason that I believe we will weather the pandemic and the politics of an election year during a pandemic and everything else is that we have been doing that for our whole time together. Before I even had a chance to open my office door in Elkhart, a terrible thing happened. On July 27th, 2008, the shooting in Knoxville at a UU church where our recently emeritized Gordon and his beloved Judy had been in attendance that morning. 3 days before my official start date, we opened up our sanctuary to a vigil where we made peace flags and we decried gun violence in churches. When I did finally begin 4 days later, it was with joy and love, but pain came first. Joy and woe have always been woven fine with you and me, UUFE. Several times there has been violence in the world, and we've chosen to be together to make sense of it or to pool our pain and anger. The Knoxville shootings brought us together and made us think proactively about the importance of clear communication and discussions about safety. Church should be a safe place, physically and emotionally and spiritually, and when the world suffers from violence, we should have that sanctuary, the building, but also the feeling of sanctuary. When the Newtown shootings happened in December of 2012, that became a turning point for me. So many shootings, nightclubs, schools, churches, the Martin's grocery store near my house. We need better gun control laws, or all of these vigils ring hollow. Our nation does not have reasonable gun laws, and the sin of my generation and yours is to expect school children to live with the understanding that one of their classmates might, at any time, kill them. Expect them to do live shooter drills, and then march in the streets for their own safety after the Stoneman Douglas school shooting. My kids still sometimes wear the t-shirts from March for Our Lives in 2018. Our sanctuary, which has been the source of so much joy and togetherness over the years, has also held so much pain. So many vigils for peace and justice, but also those that follow tragedy and violence. Joy and woe are woven fine, then and now, and our history of facing the hard times together, even if this time it's on Zoom, is how I know we can carry on. The reason that children have held such a special place for us is that we're built around a religious education program. In my time, in just these last 12 years, we have enjoyed some really good times, and we've had some low interest times. But even if there's one child in the sanctuary or at coffee hour, we uplift them. Also, I'm not going to forget or gloss over that, well, there have been a couple times at maybe a Christmas Eve service or playing Mary and Joseph where we had a really pregnant person, Ashley or Renee. Working with kids keeps energy fresh for a congregation, and it ensures that next generations will benefit from being raised within the tenets of our free faith. As we look at this pandemic making it difficult for public school to continue as usual, with many families choosing or needing to have kids do homeschool, may we be a safe haven for them, however that comes up. Children are important. We've had child dedications and bridgings. In 2018, we sent 9 of our youth to Boston after they fundraised for 2 years. We've also sent 2 different teams to Lego robotics tournaments. And 12 years ago, there were these kids that made me do a pet blessing and made me touch rats and snakes and all kinds of animals. Those people are now grown-ups, and they still check in with this pastor. All of the camping trips and the special services and the times that our kids have had together are a joy, even as woe has woven its way in occasionally. LGBTQ issues have always been important to UUFE, and in the last 12 years, we have seen significant achievements in our self-education as we become better allies. From our newsletter, The Focus, which will be starting up again this week, comes the announcement in 2009 called Organizing for LGBT Rights, Finding the Road in Indiana. It promises that a training program for LGBT people living in rural, small town, and urban communities and allies who support them will be happening beginning at 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday at UUFE. This was the first queer-themed workshop of its kind, and it happened here, even as lawmakers seek to erase people simply for whom they love. We fight back. Several of my predecessors were in the struggle too. In this last decade or so, while you and I worked together to do workshops and self-examination, we became a welcoming congregation. Our official call read like this: The Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart has called a special congregational meeting for 12:15 p.m. Sunday, November 24th, 2013 in the sanctuary. The purpose of the meeting is to receive a report from the Welcoming Congregation Committee and for a vote in affirmation of being recognized by the Unitarian Universalist Association as a welcoming congregation. As I recall, there was pie. The vote passed. Since then, we have been home to many teens and young adults who find safe haven here. And many of you have done all kinds of marches and festivals. Some of you were with me over at the UCC Church in June of 2016 when Pastor Izzy and I led a vigil. I guess we can call it a vigil. We led a vigil after the Pulse shootings when 29 people died in a Florida gay bar. Joy and woe. It is inherent to what you and I do together. But I want to talk about joy for just another minute, because boy, did we celebrate at Pride last year, even as it poured rain on us. If we have a reputation for being gay friendly, we know why. It's not just me. You empower me to be the voices for those voices that are silenced. I have married couples who did their weddings in Elkhart County so that their license would not get published and they would lose their jobs. I have been in the New York Times for marrying some pals of mine. Our church's website is the first one that comes up on Google when you type Elkhart Gay Church. Weddings are joyful. It's true, it really is. Weddings are joyful, or they should be. Many times, the people are here at UUFE or with me because of pain coming from somewhere else. Just how it is joyful to have young people around, it's sometimes because they've been cast out elsewhere. Being consistent advocates enables us to be here for our LGBTQ neighbors and to join together for phone banks, marches, rallies, and hopefully a little bit more stable of a awning for the next Pride Festival that we go to. We are empowered to keep extending that love to cover the safety and sanctuary needs of immigrants too. Although we voted to become a sanctuary congregation, in our area we have no sanctuary cases, and it kind of fell to the wayside to some degree. But many of us attended an important meeting of legislators involved with DACA in South Bend 2 years ago, and many of us helped defeat the building of an ICE detention center in Elkhart. For a year, from July 2019 to July 2020, we witnessed against kids in cages on our borders. As we've always enjoyed multicultural experiences and pulpit guests, and we've been good neighbors, we've offered to learn about the sanctuary movement. As we have done all of these good proactive things, we've also been aware of the shift in national leadership, not in a good way. I was born after World War II when there were internment camps, but we are living in times when the U.S. again has concentration camps. And this time they're filled with children. Joy and woe are in the very fabric of Latinx neighbors' lives. As we maintain our moral high ground of not endorsing parties or candidates from UUFE's pulpit, we hold on to those morals and values. Sometimes we take them out into the world, to North Carolina's Moral March, or any number of women's marches. And now our banner is traveling to Black Lives Matter protests. For 10 Sundays beginning today, we will register voters where we witnessed against kids in cages for a year on the Civic Plaza on Main Street in Elkhart. And so here we are, 12 years together, and the pandemic has hit during this time of the life of UUFE. I think that we are pretty stable geniuses. We have ordained Beth and Kevin, we've raised up Jenny, and we've kept me going for 12 years. During this time, as we have accomplished many of these things and more, we also buried about 50 people, either members or families of members or friends of yours. To put this in perspective of how often we have prepared for these celebrations of life, many of my colleagues have done their first funeral in their 4th or 5th year of service, with years passing before doing another. About 50 in 12 years. It's been a time of grief for us. It causes me to reflect again and again on how finely together joy and woe are woven. These are inseparable. All of these loved ones, all of these stories, of course we wish we could be together, if for no other reason than to conjure the beautiful memories on our hallowed grounds, to smell the coffee and shush each other. But in this current version of UUFE, it's important that we remember what Nancy MacDonald Ladd told us at General Assembly in 2016, and that is, don't be torn apart by fake fights. And I would say, let's not take out our anxieties on other people. Sometimes we will have different opinions on how to stay safe, on whether a sign should go on the door or inside or outside. We're going to have fights about appropriate pulpit topics. We're going to have fights about what color to paint the sanctuary or to paint the gathering place or the women's bathroom. We're going to have some different opinions. They don't have to be fights. The group who was doing studies for a building project, the group meaning us, who was doing studies for a building project during a recession that was so bad Elkhart had a news team cover us for a year, is the same group that will rebuild the basement during a pandemic. A basement that got destroyed during a 100-year flood 3 years ago, which we just received the funding to do. Folks, we are really good at getting to that place of joy together, however that can happen. But first, we always have to go through some pain and some woe. So my deeply pastoral advice to you, to me, to all of us is to just hang in there. Woe will give way to joy, and on that glorious day, we will all be free again. Until then, just remember that in these 12 years we've done so much, both to usher in joy and to abate the woe in life. And one stupid pandemic is not going to erase that. We've got this. Wash your hands, wear a mask, keep your safe distance. Thank you for being with us this week. Our closing words come from Nancy Wood. She says, "Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree which stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you." Blessed be. Amen. Stay at home in peace.